Morning, everyone. Thank you. I hope everyone had a great time last night. I actually, I've done a couple Media Post events and really enjoy being at Media Post because I think the opportunity to get to know each other over, like I said last night, a couple-day period really engenders great conversations, and relationships. So I hope you had a great time last night. I promise I'll keep it brief this morning, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak to you. Actually, before I start, where's Kevin from Mountain? Kevin sitting here? No? I saw him this morning. All right, fair enough. He's in the auction chair. But okay, so he's not here. I want to give him credit. First of all, Kevin did an amazing job presenting yesterday, and he inspired me. Completely inspired me. I came here today because of Kevin with one confession and one hope and wish. Here's the confession. Ryan Reynolds is nowhere in this presentation. You can, however, look me in the eye. Second, here's my hope and my wish. I know, looking out at this audience, there's a handful of you that are actually current advertisers, current partners with Atmosphere. Thank you. That's exciting. We're an emerging business. That's fun. I know there are a lot of you that showed up at this conference, I don't know, what, Sunday night, yesterday. You looked at that logo, and you're like, I have no idea what that is. Totally cool. I know there's also a lot of you who maybe saw the content out there, up here, or yesterday we're at the bar, and go, oh, I've seen that before. That's Atmosphere. Wherever you fall in that bucket, my hope, in any of those buckets, my hope is in a few minutes, a couple things happen. One, a recognition as Atmosphere as a media company and what we do. Secondly, and most importantly, I think, for you as marketers and advertisers and investment professionals is there is a new lane here. There is a new option. That Atmosphere has created something that provides a new lane of advertising that sits at this new convergent point of two things that were previously distinct, out-of-home and connected television. And by expanding the tent, the domain of connected television, by bringing connected television outside of the living room where people watch TV, and all those moments we watch TV, it's provided new optionality and new opportunities. I start here not just to throw like impressive stat at you, but to kind of ground you in something I often like to share when I'm introducing Atmosphere. It is simply, in a moment of humility, Atmosphere is most likely the largest media company you are completely unfamiliar with. In the last 3 months, 130 million people, about half of the adult 18-plus universe here in the US, has watched Atmosphere. More than half of those actually watched Atmosphere more than 4 times in the past month. We've been very blessed as a company to have meteoric growth over the last couple of years, right? And much of this is due that our distribution grows every day. Distribution for us means that new businesses fire up Atmosphere inside of there. 2 years ago, we were probably in about 10,000 venues. Now, today, we're in over 65,000 venues across the United States where they're actively streaming and playing Atmosphere every single day. And that puts us in a really fun place. It puts us in a place in a connected television ecosystem where only YouTube actually reaches more people every month than Atmosphere does. To give you a bit more understanding of the Atmosphere story and why it matters and hopefully what the utility is for you, I want to start with 3 very, very easy tenets that I think everyone in this room would probably agree with. The first is that since its inception just over 100 years ago, the television has been the most powerful form of entertainment for consumers and has subsequently also been the most powerful form of entertainment, the most powerful medium to reaching consumers and engaging them and giving them a message and changing their opinions for marketers as well. Yesterday, Karina just told us about how effective it is. She had to shut it off because it was so impactful, right? Secondly, we know that people love watching TV, right? The advent of streaming has only meant that people watch more and more and more. And we know the cornerstone for most people and most families of that viewing habit is in their living room. But the living room is only one place where we watch television. Our lives as consumers, our lives as people take us on journeys to many different places where we actually watch TV for intentional periods of time, right, throughout our week, every day. And an Atmosphere for us, and then just this third point, very simply, and one that's very recognizable, that TV has evolved greatly. When you think about TV in its inception just under 100 years ago, for many years, a few channels, mass audience reach, little choice for consumers, advertisers were often integrated into that programming. Then we had the advent of cable and satellite, right, which meant more choice for consumers, more options of content, and actually a greater opportunity for you as marketers and investment professionals to reach people in more targeted ways. And then finally, right, as we all know in the last decade, the emergence of CTV and streaming. And CTV and streaming put the ultimate choice of content in consumers' hands to watch it whenever they want, however they want, right? They can watch whatever program at a certain time. And as marketers and investment professionals, you know how to much more bespoke and targeted and specific way to actually deliver a message to people. I start with that background Because it's in this ecosystem where Atmosphere sits. If you ask me what Atmosphere is, it's a very simple explanation. We're a connected television FAST platform. We curate 40 different continuously streaming channels. But here's the difference with Atmosphere. Here's why it matters and why it's distinct and what sets us apart. We're really the first and one of the only media companies to curate programming, to create programming experiences, to create those 40 channels intentionally, only and bespoke for the moment when you are watching television on all those different moments when you're not sitting on side your couch. What we actually like to say about Atmosphere is we have taken TVs that were largely dormant and we've brought them to life. The reason we've brought them to life is because the programming that previously ran through here, which is live linear cable, it was never intended to be watched in those types of venues, in those types of environments. In the advertising, it wasn't either. It just came along for the ride. Right? Most of you know you do a live linear cable by a certain amount of your impressions just run there. Right? But you can't be intentional, bespoke. So in creating Atmosphere, we've got 3 customers. We have 3 primary customers, the businesses, who now have a better product to deliver to people. Right? It gives them something better in experience to keep people in those venues enjoying themselves there. The viewers who actually get to watch that content. And the opportunity to enjoy your time in there. I had an opportunity, the executive at Spotify a few weeks ago came up to me, we're at an event, he goes, hey, Atmosphere? I go, yeah. He's like, Chive TV, dude, I could not stop. I sat down to have a burger with my kid and I couldn't stop watching. I'm like, fantastic. Please keep spreading that gospel, right? Lastly, for you guys as advertisers, this is the most relevant message for you as advertisers, marketers, and investment and planning professionals, right? As I mentioned before, my key takeaway, hopefully, as you walk out of here is there is simply a new lane. There is a new opportunity and optionality about how I use television to reach people at different and specific moments when they're watching outside of their living room. Right? That new lane sits at a brand new point of convergence that were 2 previously distinct without a home and connected television. You can now intentionally think about where, when, what type of place someone is actually watching that ad. You can think about how you make a creative in a bespoke way to meet that moment. Let me illustrate this a little bit. I think some of you actually maybe saw it a little bit if Atmosphere was the first time you were exposed to it last night, right? This experience, for those of you who maybe woke up, turned on the TV today, and were wondering what happened last night in the ALCS, who was moving on to the World Series, is a fantastic experience. It's breaking down everything for you. Sit on your couch, lean back, it's perfect. Or if you're like me, right, maybe the only time I'm not watching a live sport, I'm catching up with my friend Mariska Haggerty and her crew as they, haggle all the crazies in the world. Perfect experience when I'm sitting on my couch. That doesn't translate, though, when you are outside in a different environment. This was not meant to be watched there. Nor are you going to catch up on a storyline 20 minutes into that episode, probably when that episode is part of a multi-episode story arc. But this, constant highlights, right? Updates, info, fantasy insights, all the information that you want as a sports fan, that's awesome. Or an entertainment experience that's not storyline driven, but in fact one that shows you people doing amazing, awe-inspiring, and fun stuff. In fact, it often encourages you to put down your phone, pick up your head, and as I saw a couple of you do last night and someone did to me, is, hey, did you see that? That's awesome, right? So it curates and creates this social experience again of watching television, which often doesn't happen within the living room anymore. All right, so why does this matter to you as marketers, right? What's the message? Like, what is this? How does this increase your ability to reach consumers? Let's take FanDuel. FanDuel's betting app is only live in 12 states. So instead of just running live linear television to capture people on all these experiences when they're watching TV, in running an Atmosphere, you can target just those 12 states with no lift whatsoever, right? And reach people at intentional moments in environments and in bars and restaurants where they are captivated in a sports viewing experience, incredibly contextual. But take it a step further, too, like FanDuel did with us. You're not only live in those 12 states, right? You can make a creative that is more bespoke, more engaging, and more relevant. So in each state, you can have a creative that's displaying the jackpot that is relevant to that particular state. Or take it even a step further and make it incredibly relevant. That jackpot is actually tied into a live API that updates the jackpot in that moment when that ad renders. So when the jackpot's different at 10:30, 3:30, and 8:30 during the day, you get a different message to the consumer that is more relevant and more specific and more bespoke to you. I'll illustrate this again, thinking about if you're Starbucks, right? Relevancy. If you're Starbucks, you want to reach people, you have the opportunity to get consumers closer to a point of purchase while they're out in their daily journey. So you can run an ad that is entirely local, right? That is national, runs across the entire country, all 204 DMAs, our 65,000 locations. But you can then instead say, I want to curate down to only the ones that are within a mile of Starbucks, which probably is everywhere, right? You can also run it within those key coffee period times, the morning, the afternoon, right? What is highly relevant to your business, your consumer, what's going to create more intentionality. But there's also an opportunity to go even further and blend the best of what you do in other worlds and make an enhanced creative that utilizes video, the best of out of home, and the beautiful palette of email, and converge it into a single creative experience that ultimately even utilizes the best of search to drive someone directly to that Starbucks that is inevitably, just around the corner. A couple weeks ago, there was a marketer, investment professional, who said at a media post conference that full funnel marketing is dead. This is why I love my job, because I get to come up and very kindly say it's not. The opportunity is very different now, and there's a new optionality that you can bring a creative together that in one single creative can be a full funnel and take people down from incredible engagement and awareness with your video, down to consideration, product showcases, and then ultimately driving foot traffic, taking people to the location that is nearest to them to buy. As I wrap here, just to kind of as I talked about a bit, right? Thinking about that there is a new opportunity to take advantage of this convergence of where previously you could not be intentional, bespoke, and thoughtful about where, when, how, and what type of creative that you show up with people. And if I failed and didn't entertain you, I'm going to finish with one of my favorite channels, which is Pause TV, because at the very least, they're more cuddly, cuter, and going to make you a lot happier than I might. So thank you guys very much for a few moments this morning.